Coming up on News 2, over 100 ballots are already in as many residents take advantage of early voting. While many say it's beneficial, some are questioning the process. Meanwhile, board members met on St. Croix with a serious agenda. Also, the VI will receive $523,000 in low-income energy assistance program funding, 4 times more than the territory has received in recent years. Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast, early voting started on Tuesday, October 21st. Already some residents are coming forward with specific concerns about the early voting process. Much of those concerns have to do with the voting machines and what they mean to the security of the ballots being cast. News 2's April Knight has details.
2 days into the early voting period, problems arise. One major snag is the tabulating machines are down. Early voters do get to fill in their paper ballots like usual, but instead of sticking them into the tabulators to be counted, they drop them into a sealed bin. According to board members, the problem with the DS200s is not a glitch, but how the machines were deliberately programmed, except they were programmed wrong.
If you vote the symbol and then you went out of the symbol and you tried to vote for another candidate, what was happening is that the person outside of the symbol were receiving the votes and kicking out the symbol.
Board members respond by not using the machines at all, keeping the ballots in the sealed bins and counting them later, like how the absentee ballots are counted. Even with the stopgap solutions offered by board members, some residents are still concerned that the lack of the tabulating machines opens up a whole lot of problems for early voting. If an early ballot is spoiled, for example, there's no way to trace the original voter.
We will have to figure out the intent of the voter.
Lose candidates first and then they switch to symbol, or you don't know which was first. You don't know whether they did symbol first or candidates.
And then there are those who fear that the early ballots set aside might be tampered with before they go into the tabulator.
I could add another 5 of my choice that I want to give a vote to, because I'm going to handle your ballot. And I have difficulty with that.
Some residents already question if, with these technical problems, the early voting should have happened at all. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now, if you're planning to vote, keep these dates in mind. Early voting goes on until October 31st. The election system offices will be open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. instead of the regular work hours of 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. General election is on November 4th, and if needed, there will be runoff elections on November 18th. Election Supervisor Carolyn Fox reminds everyone there will be no electioneering at polling sites, and voters should stick to the times because they're closing those doors promptly according to the schedule. Well, the St. Croix Board of Elections held a special meeting on Wednesday to get an update on just how prepared they are for the general election. But while they're not fully ready for November 4th, the new early voting policy is also making some waves. St. Croix board members objected to the electioneering clause of the policy that restricts them from being at the elections office.
No current member of the Board of Election running for re-election is allowed to participate or be in election system office during all the voting hours. So that means to me that myself, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Ross shouldn't be in the Board of Election all the time while the votes is going on. But candidates that have never been on the board can be in there, and candidates who are watchers can be in the board. And again, I'm saying when election come November, myself, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Ross can remain outside from the polling place because I already established there are bigger voting population in each district polling places than you have in the office. So you put it in there to get even with one person, everybody get caught up in that. So the 4 people will have to monitor all the polling places.
News 2 will bring you more from Wednesday's meeting in Thursday's newscast. Well, the district court on Wednesday ruled in favor of Lieutenant Governor candidate Basil Ottley's right to be on the ballot. A local voter had challenged Ottley's bona fide residency, and federal judge Curtis Gomez dismissed the petition on the grounds that one average voter does not have the right to remove a candidate from the ballot.
Just like when this matter was brought before the Superior Court, The district court has also dismissed it with prejudice. And again, it's been determined that I am clear and free to be a candidate for lieutenant governor, along with on the Christensen-Otley team for governor and lieutenant governor. And this is something we have known from the very beginning when we announced in March of this year, and we've always been confident of my qualifications.
In other news, police are still trying to find the people who robbed the St. Croix Bank Tuesday morning. At least one armed suspect entered the Peters Rest Bank of St. Croix just before 10 a.m. Although police responded within minutes, two perpetrators were able to escape with an undisclosed amount of money. Police shut down Castle Coakley for about an hour and set up roadblocks in the area after reports that the suspects crashed the blue vehicle and continued their getaway on foot. The furry officers from the K-9 unit got a new home Tuesday. VIPD unveiled the new digs for the police dogs during a ribbon-cutting ceremony Tuesday evening. It was the dream of former St. Croix Police Chief Christopher Howell to enhance the K-9 building back in 2011. An anonymous donation helped to make that dream a reality, and construction began this year on the $1.9 million project. The building houses kennels, a dog wash area, and training area. There are plans to construct another building next door to house the Special Operations Division. Turn our attention overseas. A gunman shot and wounded a soldier in Ottawa, Canada, and then entered the country's parliament buildings, chased by police, with at least 30 shots fired, according to media and eyewitness reports on Wednesday. CBC TV said that a suspected gunman was shot dead inside the Parliament building. Law enforcement officials are looking at the computers. In other news, and talking to the friends of three teenage Colorado girls who were picked up in Germany over the weekend when authorities suspected they may have been trying to join Islamic fighters in Syria. The three Denver area teenage girls told their parents they were going to Turkey to study. Well, keeping our eye on the economy, you may have noticed Dish Network has taken off some channels such as CNN, HLN, CNN in Espanol, Cartoon Network, True TV, Boomerang, TCM, and more. The Turner channels were taken off due to contract negotiations. Both companies are hoping the channels will be back soon. The blackout affects nearly 500,000 Dish subscribers in the Los Angeles area and 14 million nationwide, including here in the territory. The Dish-Turner stalemate, reached late Monday after months of negotiations, is the latest in a series of disputes that has left viewers without their favorite TV channels. Turner and Dish have been struggling to reach an agreement for several months. The contract was set to expire in July, but Turner extended the deadline several times because the negotiations seemed to have been progressing until they stalled Monday. Warren Schlitting, Dish's senior vice president of programming, said in a statement, "We regret the service disruption to our customers and remain committed to reaching an agreement that promptly returns this content to Dish's programming lineup." In other news, a security warning for anyone who uses Apple's iCloud. The company says it's aware of organized attacks to steal personal information from customers. Apple says the attack didn't compromise its own servers. Here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our stock market watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all down. The Dow 153, Nasdaq 36, S&P 14. Coming up on News2, some important events coming up, opportunities for you to show some support. We have the Take Back the Night March, Voices That Count Forum, and giving some blood to benefit the blood bank supply at Juan Louis Hospital. Details. The new ferries are finally back online, and this is according to Commissioner Darrell Smalls, who made the announcement over the radio Wednesday morning. The new ferries, Cruise Bay 1 and Red Hook 1, were originally intended to run in December 2013, but because of some paperwork issues with the two operators designated to run the ferries, the permanent operators of operations of the ferries were put on hold. The two vessels ran briefly a few months ago, but this time the operations are set to be permanent, according to Public Works. Community Partnerships in Focus and the St. Croix Board of Realtors, in conjunction with the Governor Juan F. Louis Hospital's Patient Family Council, has organized its first annual blood drive. The event was organized to bring the community together in support of Juan F. Louis and to benefit its blood bank supply. The blood drive will be held on Saturday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the new Seaside Market in Gallows Bay, formerly known as Schooner Bay Market. Medicare beneficiaries and persons newly eligible for Medicare can make changes to their Part D plan during the annual open enrollment period, which began on October 15. That's the official word from Beverly Joseph, acting director of the VI SHIP Medicare. Now, Medicare beneficiaries have until December 7th to join or drop their prescription drug plan. Beneficiaries not already enrolled in a Medicare supplement plan can enroll in the territory's AARP preferred plan. Current AARP policyholders do not need to make any changes to their Part D plan. Beneficiaries not taking advantage of this year's open enrollment will have to wait until next year's open enrollment period. Well, the Virgin Islands will receive $523,000 in low-income energy assistance program funding for fiscal year 2015, or 4 times the funding that the territory has received in recent years. The award was part of $3 billion in funding released nationwide. Delegate to Congress Donna Christensen says this is the highest amount of that funding that the Virgin Islands has ever received. Christensen serves on the Committee on Energy and Commerce, led her territorial colleagues in a campaign to receive increased funding for this program, which helps low-income, elderly, and disabled who need assistance with their high energy bills. Well, in some sad news, VI philanthropist Peter Gruber passed away on Saturday. A private school in the VI bears his name, the VI Montessori School and Peter Gruber International Academy. Gruber was a huge supporter of the sciences and education. He presented the Gruber International Prize that honors and recognizes those in fields of cosmetology, genetics, women's rights, and more. He was born in Budapest, Hungary in 1929. He served briefly in the U.S. Army, Finance Corps, and later Wall Street. He eventually found his way to the VI as a beneficiary under the EDC program, providing careers and supporting a number of local charities. Governor John DeYoung said today he was deeply saddened to learn of the death of his friend and longtime Virgin Islands resident. He said, Cecile and I are saddened by the news of Peter's passing. He was an incredible individual, recognized internationally for his philanthropic commitment to making the world a better place. His strong attachment to the Virgin Islands was well known by his friends and associates and was manifested in support for programs for local children. VI Peter Gruber International Academy will be celebrating the addition of 3 new facilities on its school campus with Honoring the Life of Peter Gruber ceremony on Monday, November 10th. Since 2012, the school has had a partnership with Peter and Patricia Gruber. The Honoring the Life of Peter Gruber ceremony starts at 9 a.m. with a ribbon-cutting reception and campus tours. Immediately following, that event is free and open to the public. And condolences on behalf of all of us here at CBS TV2. Department of Education officials say teachers in both St. Thomas and St. Croix districts will be attending professional development workshops. There has been some confusion, so officials are clarifying. On St. Croix, teachers will be out on Friday the 24th, and on St. Thomas, St. John teachers will attend meetings on Monday the 27th. Therefore, public schools in both districts will be closed on the respective days. Again, on St. Croix, schools will be closed on Friday. On St. Thomas, schools will be closed on Monday. The Virgin Islands University Center for Excellence in Developmental Disabilities, or VIU, said will be hosting the 11th annual Voices That Count Forum. That's October 23rd to the 24th in the Great Hall on Albert Sheen campus on St. Croix, and from the 28th to 29th in the Administration Conference Center on St. Thomas. The theme of the forum is VIU said 20 years of empowering people with disabilities. The forums will be held from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day. Now, the forum brings individuals with disabilities, family members, service providers, and advocates together to discuss issues. To register, you can call 340-692-4266 on St. Croix or 340-693-1322 on St. Thomas. Well, as we continue Domestic Violence Awareness Month, one of the highlighted events is the Take Back the Night Silent March and Rally that will be held on Thursday, 6 p.m., Frederiksted, St. Croix. It's dedicated to the memory of Viola Martin, who lost her life to domestic violence. It starts at the Frederiksted Fish Market and proceeds to the Clock Tower on St. Thomas. It's from Emancipation Garden, up Government Hill to the Legislature Yard, then back to Emancipation Garden, and that starts from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30. There will be music, speakers, and inspirational signs. You're asked to wear purple, bring a candle, and a friend. Be sure to stick around. Your News2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.